On January 26, 2025, Colombian President Gustavo Petro made a bold move, blocking U.S. deportation flights from entering Colombia. This decision came after two U.S. military C-17 aircraft, carrying Colombian migrants from California, were denied landing. The planes, each with approximately 80 passengers, were initially cleared for landing. However, President Petro revoked the diplomatic clearances, forcing the aircraft to turn back. This incident has sparked a diplomatic row between the two nations, raising concerns about the future of U.S.-Colombian relations. The decision to block the flights represents a significant escalation in tensions between the two countries. The United States, under the administration of former President Donald Trump, has implemented stricter immigration policies. These policies have led to an increase in deportations, particularly of individuals deemed to be in the country illegally. Colombia's actions directly challenge these policies, signaling a growing resistance to the U.S. approach to immigration enforcement. This incident is not an isolated one. It reflects a broader trend of Latin American countries pushing back against U.S. immigration policies. These nations are increasingly unwilling to accept the return of their citizens under conditions they deem inhumane or disrespectful. The use of military aircraft for deportations in particular has drawn criticism, with leaders like Petro arguing that it sends a message that migrants are criminals. President Petro has justified his decision to block the flights by citing the need for the humane treatment of Colombian migrants. He argues that using military planes for deportation sends a negative message, equating migrants to criminals. Petro emphasizes that Colombia is willing to receive its citizens back, but only if they are treated with dignity and respect. He has called for the use of civilian aircraft, and for guarantees of humane treatment during the deportation process. Petro's stance reflects a growing sentiment in Latin America that the U.S. has not treated their migrants fairly. Many countries feel that the U.S. government is not doing enough to address the root causes of migration, such as poverty and violence. They also argue that the U.S. deportation process often lacks transparency and due process, leaving migrants vulnerable to abuse and exploitation. The Colombian president has also pointed out the double standard in the treatment of migrants. While the U.S. is quick to deport Colombian nationals, there are a significant number of U.S. citizens living undocumented in Colombia. Petro estimates that over 15,600 Americans are residing illegally in Colombia. However, he has ruled out any possibility of rounding them up and deporting them, stating that Colombia will not resort to the same tactics employed by the U.S. The reaction from former President Trump, who is currently seeking re-election, was swift and harsh. Taking to his favored platform, Truth Social, Trump condemned President Petro's decision, calling it irresponsible and a violation of agreements between the two nations. He accused Colombia of jeopardizing the safety and security of both countries by refusing to cooperate with U.S. immigration enforcement efforts. Trump vowed a strong response, threatening to unleash a wave of economic retaliatory measures against Colombia. These measures include imposing tariffs on Colombian imports, enacting visa sanctions on Colombian officials and their families, and increasing the scrutiny of Colombian goods and individuals entering the U.S. He warned that these actions would have severe consequences for the Colombian economy, particularly key industries like coffee, flour, and textile exports. The U.S. government, echoing Trump's sentiments, accuses Colombia of violating previously established agreements regarding the repatriation of citizens. They argue that Colombia is obligated to accept deported nationals and that failure to do so undermines U.S. immigration laws. The U.S. maintains that it is acting within its sovereign rights to enforce its borders and control immigration. The situation with Colombia is not unique. The U.S. has faced similar pushback from other Latin American countries regarding deportations. Mexico, a key player in regional migration, has previously blocked U.S. deportation flights. In one instance, 2 U.S. planes carrying a total of 160 Mexican nationals were temporarily denied landing in Mexico. Mexican officials have consistently criticized what they view as the U.S.'s unilateral approach to immigration enforcement. Other countries have also voiced their discontent with the treatment of their citizens during U.S. deportation flights. Brazil, for example, condemned the conditions on a recent ICE repatriation flight, citing the use of handcuffs on deportees and a malfunctioning air conditioning system. Guatemala, while accepting the return of its citizens, has also received deported individuals on U.S. military aircraft, a practice that has drawn criticism from various sectors. These incidents highlight the growing tensions surrounding U.S. immigration policies in the region. They underscore the need for greater dialogue and cooperation between the U.S. and its Latin American counterparts to address the complex issue of migration. A failure to find common ground could have significant consequences for regional stability, economic partnerships, and diplomatic relations.